Hello all, and welcome to today's Sunday Q&A. Let's pull that in a bit. There you go. For some bizarre reason, the front camera on my phone ain't working. So every time if anyone knows the answer to this, I think it might be a software problem. Every time I try and flick the screen round, it says it's a Samsung Z Fold 3, although the middle screen doesn't work anymore because it's packed up. So I'm just on the outside screen. It says camera failed. So I'm now shooting this from the back, so I hope you can see me. If I might be cutting off my head here or something like that, is that probably a bit better? I don't know. Let's try that. Anyway, Q&A, let's give it a go. All right, today's intro. Steve Campbell, you know, I did the video about coming unstuck at the services on the way out stand, but it says, no, this is to do with when I went up to Inverness last week. He says, Nick the Urban Tracker is wrong. The M6 becomes the M74 at Gretna, and then the M74 at Abington Services. Steve, the thing is, I speak to both of you on the phone. I speak to Steve. I spoke to him this week. He drove past my house this week. He had to stop up in Dunstable for a delivery in the morning, and I spoke to Nick as well. And you're both really great guys. And you both really contribute to the channel, and a lot of the time it's interesting and informative and all that kind of stuff. Stop fighting. Honestly, if one of you, I never check the facts, and I can guarantee you both know more than me because everybody knows more than me when it comes down to it, like, you know. But if one contributes there and one contributes there, and it's slightly different, that's fine. I'll let the viewers pick through it. The way this Q&A works for me is, for me, personally, it's what we call free content. I make some videos, you guys comment on them, and then I get to make a video that's about 15, 20 minutes long, and I don't have to do anything. All I do is read out what you guys write, which means I get extra viewing time, and the big boon is I get ideas for my next videos. So, one of you might say, as Shiddy says, can you make the video about attaching straps to a pallet on a Luton van? Shitty, I will, mate, but I kind of got to be in a Luton van to do it. Otherwise, I'm just sort of like, I'm trying to demonstrate in the front room. I could do it on a truck, but it kind of, you want it from a Luton van point of view. So I'm working on it. So I get ideas for videos, and I get free videos. And I get free airtime, which is what I'm doing right now, just by waffling and talking nonsense as I usually do. Hopefully, from your point of view, you get to sort of watch something which is vaguely entertaining, playing it kind of fast and loose with the vaguely entertaining there, and that you may actually get to contribute and help someone, or you may actually know something. You might go, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. So, but it's all a friendly community here, and if one of you says one thing and one of you says the other thing, I don't check it. I just read it out. I let you guys pick it, and I like to say to both of you, thanks very much for contributing. Like I say, I speak to you both on the phone. I think you're both thoroughly nice gentlemen, and it would be lovely if rather than going, no, you're wrong, you kind of went, or just sort of say, I thought it was. But moving forward, you'll do what you're going to do. Question of the week this week goes to Shane Hardy. I can't write timestamps down. I've just realised I can't write timestamps down. I'm standing with a pen in my phone, and of course, obviously, on the other side, it tells me when the video's running. You have to guess the timestamps this week, folks. Sorry. Question of the week goes to Shane Hardy. I have actually got like an Osmo Action. I may end up shooting it on that in the future. See how that goes. Shane Hardy says, why not do a video called Questions of the Month? Because I keep forgetting questions of the week. I've written them down, Shane. I will get to recording them. There are questions of the week. There's 3 or 4 on a page. I've got a diary now, because I'm planning the lorries up ahead, which seems to be working a lot better, I've got to say. And I've got pages in the back of my diary of notes. Maybe what I'll do is I'll write the questions of the week in the notes in the back. Right, so this week's video, which I can't do the timestamp for because I don't know where it was, is I came unstuck. And it was to do with might have been before Christmas. I stopped at the Cobham Services, but not Cobham Services on the M25. It's Cobham Services on the M23 heading north. And it had like lorry bays, so I pulled up with the lorry bays and I sat there for 3/4 of an hour to take me 45-minute break, 46 minutes, and then we got a thing saying that if you stay wait for longer than 25 minutes, you get a ticket. And I didn't know. I just assumed, like everywhere else, you got 45 minutes. So, and other people had come back. Rob Black says M23. Yeah, that was last week's mistake. Sorry, Rob. Godzilla says, dirty tactics. IMO offer HGV parking and then fine you. I don't know what IMO means. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, admittedly, they probably had signs up, but like I say, I didn't read them. Because you don't, do you? You know, oh yeah, 2 hours free parking, go to WH Smith's, buy yourself a, do you want the food voucher with it? Yeah. Paul Glibberly says, loads of garages have changed to 25 lately, even if you buy fuel or food. I can understand it if people are just sort of like parking and just going shopping for ages and stuff like that, because I find that really frustrating. I did one on petrol stations actually, and that was the frustration of where I'll do a link. Where like people seem to just park at the pumps and then go in and use the Waitrose for like 20 minutes, wandering around with a basket. Shall I have Nescafe or Kenko? I'm not sure. You're parked at a pump. It's a petrol station. People are waiting to get petrol. I was with diesel anyway. Vince Gardens says, Pete, my mother recently came and stuck in a shopping complex. She went out for the afternoon, parked up and went to the shops, coffee, purchase items, had a sandwich, that kind of thing, went shopping. A few days later, she received a fine for more than 3 hours. But she never left the car park, had receipts for the shops. We come at an age where we think that they would be grateful for our money. So not like if you've been here for more than 3 hours, you can go. Like you're right. I mean, with retail, high street retail and stuff like that, massively on the decline. Why would you? I presume again to stop people parking. Maybe the local offices. If you let them park for like more than 3 hours, they can get away with parking for a morning, then move it and park for the afternoon. They don't have to pay. So they're not actually shopping; they're parking. But no, certainly anything that disencourages people from retail shopping. It's got to be, I can't remember the last time I ever went to a shopping centre. Everything just clicks on your phone and gets delivered to your door by delivery drivers. Wonderful people. Steve Campbell, he said, we had a driver in a similar scenario at a petrol station forecourt on the A23 by Hickstead. He said, I think. He needed a 30-minute break and also fuel. He filled up, got something to eat from the shop, paid and then parked up. There was a 30-minute limit and he was there for 40-ish by the time he'd queued for the pump, filled up and then queued up inside. He got away with it as it was deemed unfair practice as a tacho break was a legal requirement and parking... and the parking charge was civil or something. I presume that's the difference between the parking eye and the kind of the council ones. Also, he made purchases in the shop. So 2 interesting points there. Something about civil parking eye and also unfair practice. So could you fight a parking fine on unfair practice? Rock God, he said, it's been like that for years. He said, I think it's something like £1 an hour, not sure, after 25 minutes. It's written on the signs. Yeah, if I'd have read it, I'd have known. Still £1 an hour, that's £1 a minute. £1 an hour, oh, that's not too bad. So because your quid's parked there. That's not too bad. It's a bit of a nose though, isn't it? Loads of drivers get caught out there. They used to be posts on TruckNet UK about it, and more recently the HGV Facebook pages. Either way, it's very sneaky. I will be the garage at the end of the A2 Kent, where some drivers also park on the opposite hard shoulder, which is wider than a normal shoulder. They sometimes get done too. Yeah, well, he's the guy. He's got his own channel out there, Rock God. He's got more subs than me. So I don't think he makes any videos anymore, though. Shame. Ron White says, I don't know about today, but years Millbank in London, Coach Bays gave you 40 minutes. Please try to do your homework on that one. One point, I was coming out of Brighton, I was on the M20, then it was the M23, then Cobham. I need to lie down. Yeah, that's me just getting everything completely wrong. I'm not sure. It's the M23. I've looked it up. I Googled it. It's the petrol station on the northbound side of the M23. On the I think it might be the A23 before it hits the M23, because if it's on the M23, legally they'd have to give you 2 hours because it's attached to a motorway. Because it's an A road, they don't. Still getting it wrong. Rock God also says, can't believe you listen to Jeremy Wine. Gives me something to talk about when I get home. You know, if you talk, I mean, we talk. I come home if I get home at a reasonable time. I'm working quite long hours at the moment. But if we get home at a reasonable time and me and the missus sit down, have a glass of wine, talk about the day, and if nothing much has happened with the day, you know, what have you done? Well, I've delivered some pallets. What have you done? My mum and dad came round, did clean the kitchen, that kind of thing. It's sort of like, well, did you hear in the news today? And we can discuss that. You know, just current affairs. Steve Black says, don't pay it. They have no power. Only government-based can make you pay. So this is to do also. I mean, I had one recently where we were delivering to like a Holiday Inn, and we delivered some alcohol, then got a parking fine. I went, hang on a second, we were delivering to your bar, and I've appealed it, and they're both gone, no, you should have paid the parking. I'm not paying it. I'll wait for them to take me to court and go, you seriously want me to pay parking so I can deliver alcohol to you? But we'll do a video on that one, I think. Or maybe has anyone got any experience of when they've done these parking eye things? Do you pay them? Do you ignore them? Sometimes if you ignore them, they escalate. If you pay them to begin with, it might be 20 quid. You think it's just not worth the grief. But do they work on the fact that it's just not the grief? Let's have a chat about that one. And Domain Name Guy says, parking will get more difficult for trucks when people downsize to live in vans, etc. This is the thing they do in America, isn't it? They do that kind of nomad, living in vans and stuff. Drive it around the country, ride it around the States, different places where there's work for the summer. They put the woman out of Fargo was in it, wasn't she? It was a good film. As they take up truck spaces in laybys, etc. Yeah, I've seen that before, caravans and motorhomes parked in truck spaces. He said, I always used to move from a lay-by if a truck needed to park there when I lived in my car, being an ex 7.5 tonne driver. Considerate. Very kind of you, my friend. Right, quick one on Inverness, because we did the second half of the video went out on Inverness this week. The first half went out last week. And Dale Skill says, Scotland again. We do Scotland quite a lot because part of the firm, one of the guy, my boss Dan, he's got the contract for fitting out the brightening shops, the watch shops. So every 3 months we have to go to all the brightening shops and refit them with like the new look and stuff like that. And that's Inverness, Dundee, Glasgow, Edinburgh. What you end up doing is getting, if you're lucky, get it all on one truck and doing a week run around all of them and then coming back. I haven't done it yet, but if I do, I've been up and down. I've not done the run. If I do the run, we'll make a video about it. Dale Steele also says, well, they've got you all doing the rubbish runs, Pete. Working weekends, not good. Dale, I don't work weekends. It was just that one weekend. I work like 5 to 7 Monday to Friday. And I do all the planning. I plan the work myself. I can choose where the lorries go, but I have to go where the money is. And the exchange isn't brilliant at the moment. We've got quite a lot of our own work, but not always. And if the exchange isn't brilliant, particularly this time of year, you take what's out there. You've got to keep the wheels rolling, mate. You've got to keep the money coming in. Nick at London Creative says, so what would happen, this is to do with the tacho brake, if you're down to half an hour on your driving time and you hit major traffic, not moving, an hour of crawling, no chance of getting to a lay-by rest stop? How does the tacho deal with that? You go over, and then what you have to do is you have to do a printout when you get back to the yard, sign the printout, staple it in your book, and explain why you went over. And if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, eventually they'll have you on it. But if it happens sometimes, the transport people will accept that with the best will in the world, sometimes it just can't be helped. It's just if you do it all the time, they don't like it, which is understandable. And Straight Sign says, interesting stuff, safe travelling, old bean. Thank you very much, my friend. I will continue. This week's The Wise Guys. Dale Steele says, now this is to do with someone saying about chasing for invoices, how long do you wait to chase for invoices? He said, if it's a limited company and they're going bankrupt, there's no point issuing a court claim. If it's an individual, you've got a chance. You need to check the official order sent to you. It must have the limited company name, etc. on the order. I've seen people claim they are limited, but actually they are not. But they do have a business registered, so do your due diligence. What I think he's saying is, if it's a limited company, it's going bust, don't bother. If it's not a limited company, if it's like a sole trader, you can chase them. The only thing I will add with that, if it's a sole trader and you chase them, and they go, yes, and you take them to court, and the court says, yes, they owe you the money, but they haven't got any money, you still won't get it. So you'll have to go through the court thing. As the Citizens Vice Bureau say, if there's no money, there's no money. So the court will go, you owe this guy, or they may set up a payment plan, but the payment plan might be something like £1 a week. So it's down to you guys. You've got to work it out. Look at the company. If it's a company that's trading and it's just being awkward, I would just keep pestering them. Eventually they'll just get fed up with pestering and hopefully pay it. If it's a company that's gone down, as many of them do, Yeah, it's just tragic and sad, I'm afraid. It just is. Right, miscellaneous. Domain name guy. He says, I reckon you'd make more money as a landlord than in driving, as people will always need property, but the driving industry won't always need drivers. And scrolling down YouTube, etc. Well, that's a great idea, mate. But the problem with that is you kind of need spare houses, or access to spare houses. If I had a couple of spare houses, or 10, I probably would just rent them out and live off the rental income. I haven't got loads of spare houses. I'm doing my best just to keep hold of the one I've got. Car's Gone Wrong commented on the Dartford Tunnel video I did. I'll do you a link to the Dartford Tunnel video. He says, I go through every 3 months or so and I've only stopped once. If there is congestion on the approach, as there often is, the left 2 lanes are a little bit quicker, so many people move to the right to let other traffic on. I follow the lorries, as they always know the best route. What I tend to do is I tend to go the quickest lanes on the approach to the channel, which you're right, does tend to be the left 2 lanes, and then quarter of a mile before it, swap to the right 2 lanes, because I know the left 2 lanes are the ones that can stop and the right 2 lanes can't. JC, and then there's some numbers. We just call you JC. He says, excellent insight. We did one on road lords versus ways. Do a link on that too. He said, excellent insight into road lords versus ways. He said, I just had to rely on road lords down by Leon because the motorway was shut and the truck sat nav kept saying, do a U-turn on a motorway. Yeah, Nick's got a snooper. He swears by it. He says it's brilliant. It's 500 quid. I'll be honest with you, road lords and ways. Most of the time, I don't even need road lords. Most of the time, I can click on ways and look at it and go, A road, A road, A road, A road, A road, or A road motorway, A road, A road, A road, turn left. Well, that's going to be fine, isn't it? It's not always. And in conclusion this week, Vince Garden says, also, Pete, don't forget Tales from the Market Days and any Cockney rhyming slang that goes down well too. I've done those videos, my friend. I've done them in the past. I kind of, if you feel the need to watch the old market trading videos, they're there on at the beginning. In the meantime, it's just truck and van stuff now. Life on the road. And we're getting even closer, I hope, to the secret project. In the meantime, take care and take money. Just going to go around the back of the phone and turn it off now. Ouch.